So, as we continue on this Advent journey, we enter this week into the sacred moment of awakening love. Advent is, as we've been describing, a season of preparation, but it's not for anything that's going to happen outside of ourselves. It is for something that's stirring, that's seeking to come into being in a new way within us. Advent is not only the remembering of Jesus' birth, but a celebration of the Christ, this Christ idea that's being born anew in our own awareness. Today we explore what it means to awaken to love. Love, as we describe it, not as a sentiment or an obligation or not even something that we hope we will receive, that somehow God will send us what we need to know what we're loved, but as the very essence, the very being of truth that has always been present. The Advent theme of love is not the love that we learn from movies or in greeting cards. It's the love that Jesus demonstrated, the divine principle of unconditional, inclusive, expansive life energy that was everywhere present. The Gospel of John tells us that God is love, and the one who lives and loves lives in God, and God lives in them. It's not a metaphor, it is the metaphysics of understanding this eternal truth. Love is the very nature of life, of the universe, in expression. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, described love as a unifying, harmonizing power. Think about that for a minute. Love is the very thing that binds everything together and that allows those things to be bound together in a way that brings harmony and peace. And so Advent, this time of preparation, is an invitation to attune our own minds and hearts, to seek out, to be open to be awake to this unifying, harmonizing power. When love is awakened in us consciously, it brings order to our thoughts. It brings peace to our emotions and healing to our relationships. Think of love as this gravitational pull, just like gravity in the physical world keeps us grounded to the earth. This is a pull, always calling us into greater and greater awareness of this love. It is a magnet, and it draws more to us when we are in the energy of it. And everything that's unreal, like fear or resentment or judgment, is repelled, falls away in its presence. Awakening love is awakening the eternal truth to who we are. This Christmas story is a mystical story of divine love entering into human awareness, or at least of reawakening. I think it was here in parts, occasionally showed up, but this was a powerful awakening to the people of that time. And the Christ, this new energy being born, this idea of God's love being incarnated into its creation, is our pure and unconditional spiritual identity. And this was all being born and is being born in the stable of the human soul. A stable, by the way, and you'll probably get reminded again, was not a picture-perfect place for this birth to take place. It was messy, it was humble, and it didn't smell very well either. But it's also a very perfect symbol for the way things are birthed within us. This birth of new consciousness happens not when our life looks polished, not when we finally somehow feel like we've got it all together, but when we're willing. And oftentimes, at least in my experience, when things are at their messiest, because that's when we become willing. When we allow this divine love to be born in us, it doesn't require ideal conditions. It simply requires an openness and a willingness to receive it. This Advent love whispers, you don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to make space and allow. Many of us often find it easier to love others than it is to love ourselves. And this time of Advent preparation reminds us that nothing can happen until we get both sides of that equation. A divided soul, one that gives love but finds it difficult to receive it, cannot sustain, because love is something that has to flow, both within and then back out again. Unity teaches that self-love, as it kind of has in our human awareness at times, is not vanity. It is an alignment with truth. And to withhold love from ourselves is actually to deny the Christ within. Think about that. Every time when you judge, when you criticize, when you forget your own inherent worth, what you are really doing is denying that divinity within you. So as we move, we're going to start bringing ourselves to that place of meditation where we can reflect inwardly. As we prepare to do that, I want you to just gently ask yourself and be willing to sort of gently receive it too. This is not time for greater criticism and judgment of yourself. We want to treat this time as if we were that young babe, innocent and ready to learn. So ask yourself these questions. Where have I withheld love from myself? Where do I judge myself or criticize or forget my own inherent worth? Where have I believed that I'm separate from God? Every place that feels tight or wounded or fearful is an invitation for love to be born again. So as we move into this time of inter-reflection, I just invite you to get as comfortable as you can, allowing the body to just relax and be quiet for these next few moments. You might want to close your eyes or just soften your gaze, perhaps focus on the lights of the tree if that's more comfortable. And consciously take a deep breath in and then allow that breath to be released gently and easily. With another deep breath in, just let your shoulders soften. Let any tension there fall away. And with another deep breath in, as you focus on your heart space, that place where that divine light and spark and love resides in you. Simply ask and be open and willing to the answer received. Where is divine love seeking to be born in me today? Maybe it's in a relationship that needs healing. Maybe it's a fear that you're holding on to that needs your compassion. Maybe it's a dream that wants greater courage. Maybe it's just a simple willingness to be kinder and take better care of yourself. As you listen with your inner ears and with your willing heart, we'll rest for a few moments in the silence so that you may receive. And as you bring your attention back to this time and space, know that whatever you have received or will receive in the perfect divine timing is there to support you in greater love being born. Silently affirm with me now, in your heart, in your mind, in your soul. Love is being born in me now. Love is awakening in this community now. Love is transforming our world now. For love is who we are. One more deep breath, and you can open your eyes and bring your full attention back here. So I want to give you a couple of practices that you can take out into your day-to-day life that can help awaken divine love. The first is, and none of these are going to be new for anybody who's been around here any longer, so it's more of a reminder to go practice this, is practice seeing the Christ in others. This is one of the things you can do to really bring greater love to your own life, if you can remember to do this. It's the core of Jesus' ministry, seeing beyond the appearances. This practice reminds us that every person has that seed, has that spark of the Christ within them. And when we can do that, notice, but for me at least, our judgment about it softens. Our compassion is easier to call forward. If we can stop and notice and remind ourselves of the divinity of others, we can live a little less from fear and respond with greater love. In fact, that's one of the other practices, is to choose love over fear, to be aware of those times when fear rises up in us, and it will happen in an instant, because that's what the body's designed to do. Whenever no matter how accurate it is, in fact, we've understood that the body would rather be wrong 99% of the time than miss that 1% when it really needed to be fearful. So fear is going to show up, but as soon as you can pay attention to that, then you can begin to see the Christ within others, or to show up from a different space. Fear tries to convince us that love is risky. It tries to tell us that being vulnerable is dangerous, that compassion will just make us weak. But fear doesn't speak the truth. It speaks from memory, and usually the difficult memories. And love speaks from presence. So whenever we're in presence, love is available to us. Every moment presents a choice, whether we contract or whether we expand, whether we protect or whether we express, whether we fear or whether we love. And if we want to awaken love more, then we've got to be practicing love more often in our day. And ultimately, to recognize that love is not necessarily a feeling, it is a demonstration. It is what Jesus walked his life through in action. He just didn't talk about love, he demonstrated the love. He was willing to show up with kindness, with forgiveness, with generosity. We live in a world that's hungry for love, real love, spiritual love, transformational love. Not necessarily the sentimental affection that we often just as a token offer to people, not a conditional acceptance. I love you when you're doing exactly what I need you to be doing. We all know that love. But the love that sees the divine worth in each human being. You know, the love that Jesus demonstrated was not soft, it was powerful. It challenged systems of separation. It elevated the marginalized. It broke open hearts and expanded the consciousness of what was possible. To awaken to love is to participate in the healing of the world. And as the world is healed, it is done person by person, interaction by interaction, blessing by blessing. As a spiritual community, when we choose to awaken love together, we become a much more powerful field of consciousness, of expression. We bless families, we bless our workplaces, we bless our neighborhoods, not by preaching or telling them, look, here's what I do, but by simply being that presence in the midst of all that is going on in those interactions. We become like living Advent candles. I want you to think of that. I'm a candle lit, illuminating in the places where darkness is present. When we as a community can awaken love collectively, forgiveness becomes a whole lot easier. Compassion becomes much more natural. Differences become opportunities for understanding. Boy, that's a big one. I want us to be there. I want us to be where everyone can come in and can be in their own different place, and we can embrace it all as we seek to try and understand it. And miracles become ordinary. They're just part of life. It's the magic that happens when love is guiding the way. We become, indeed, what Jesus called and what he invited us all into, the light of the world. You know, Mary had no real understanding of who or what she was preparing to bring into this world, yet through, angelic visitations, they help. Although I don't know, I would not trust them. You know, if an angel visits me in my dream and tells me to go do something crazy, I'm going to be a little bit hesitant. I'm going to question that a little bit. But she sensed and had faith that something extraordinary was going to happen. And her one task was simply to say yes to her part, to allow herself to be a vehicle through which the divine energy of love could be born, to be a willing channel. And we're asked to do no more or no less than that ourselves. And in the same way, none of us can know the full impact of our own yes. That moment that we're willing and we say yes and we show up in a different way, we don't know how that's going to affect the world, but we can trust that it will. We may never see the outcome of what that love was able to do and transform, but we can stand in faith that when we show up that way, what will unfold will be extraordinary. Well, it is our opportunity now to share of our financial good with this community. All that we do comes through the gifts, the tithes, the love offerings from all the people who support us. We don't have a mother church that we can tap into, and we're so grateful for the generosity of this community. We are so blessed to live in this abundant flow and grateful to know that all that we need is provided for with ease and with grace and with care, and we celebrate the many ways in which that not only flows through this community, but flows out into the greater community through the food pantry, Tarrant County Food Bank, Grace, Church on the Slab, and we're celebrating that we just brought them a whole bunch, and they needed it. Mark brought down to Church on the Slab, we probably had 60 hats, gloves, scarves, some jackets, socks, and all of those things I know are being used, and those who needed them are being blessed in this little cold snap right now by that. So we're grateful that we are able to, and blessed and able to support those who are in need in our community. So all that we give today, we know it flows in, it flows out, and we are in that divine flow of abundance as we hold what we offer today in our hands and in our hearts and bless it together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother God.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. When God as our Father, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so as we take our light of love out into the world and spread it wherever we find darkness, we can do that knowing our prayer for protection. We're going to do it as call and response. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right.